250 years ago, a bold experiment began. In 1776, 56 men signed a document that declared an extraordinary idea, that our rights come not from kings, governments, or armies, but from our Creator. Against impossible odds, that idea survived revolution, civil war, depression, world wars, and moments when it seemed America itself might not make it. Now, a quarter of a millennium later, we stand at another crossroads. If we were to bury a time capsule today, one not to be opened for another 250 years, what would we leave behind? We would leave behind a nation divided by politics, connected by technology, watched by algorithms, debating artificial intelligence, wrestling with truth in the age of misinformation, and wondering whether our greatest inventions were making us freer or simply more dependent. The question isn't what future Americans will think of our technology. The question is what they'll think of us. Will they see a generation that preserved liberty or traded it for convenience? A people who built remarkable machines but forgot timeless values? Or citizens who understood that while every generation inherits a nation, every generation also leaves one behind? Because every time capsule tells two stories: what a civilization possessed and what it believed was worth preserving. Happy 250th birthday, America. The next chapter is already being written, and one day it will be history.
Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
Oh,
It's going.
pretty good.
Everybody still have all their fingers and toes from the
Yes,
fireworks?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what, it was like a dang fireworks war in my subdivision.
Really?
Yes, when I got home.
Well, my favorite thing about the fireworks was Mondami made firing fireworks illegal in New York City. Did you see the videos from the skyscrapers?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
They got
my
They
God.
probably gave him the middle finger.
Oh, they
no.
gave him middle fingers all over that town. It was brilliant, the amount of fireworks going off in New York City. It was awesome.
That's awesome. There was the local city I'm a part of, I think the week before 4th of July, they had like a big celebration out, and I didn't realize that it was taking place on the day that it was. I think I had it written down, but I just forgot about it because I was busy with a bunch of other stuff. And sure enough, like I think the finale was like at 10 p.m. So I think like preceding that, there was like a bunch of fireworks, like a big spectacular thing. And I remember being in the kitchen being like, what is all this racket going on? Yeah. What are all these explosions, all this stuff? And then, of course, once it got to 10 o'clock, it just like, as you'd imagine from a fireworks show, they just let it all,
finale.
they let it all go. Yeah.
let it
And so,
all
of course,
rock and roll.
it was 10 o'clock, and I was like, what is happening? And then I looked at the calendar. I was like, oh, it's that big celebration that I had forgotten about. It's like, okay, that's...
When they were doing the fireworks thing for the country, Philadelphia kind of came back and it kind of became the center again of the country, because at one time it kind of was. And they were going to try to set a world record for almost 1 million fireworks. I think it was 850 to 900,000 fireworks. But as they were exploding the fireworks, the air quality went there's so much smoke, they kind of had to curtail it. So I don't know if they actually did the
1 million.
The one, I'm like, oh, wow, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
It just pushed so bad, it was rough on the lungs for people. People were having a rough
lot of
time.
smoke.
Yeah.
Smelling gunpowder.
It is gunpowder. Yep.
Yeah. That's interesting. There's
and this was a big one. So
250 years.
250
I know,
years. So, even in our town, they were going crazy. but definitely reminded everybody that hold my beer is not a great safety plan.
No, definitely not.
Because this was crazy. They had the hospitals around here had quite a few incidents of people coming in and, having some injuries due to fireworks.
Right, of course.
And it probably was a little bit more this time because there was an exorbitant amount of people burning fireworks.
My brother, being a first responder,
did he have anything
no,
to add to
no,
this?
not really. That's actually the funny part was he was like, a lot of the complaints or a lot of the calls and concerns were like, I have a tummy ache, or like grandma's not feeling too well, or she may have fallen over and things like that. But it was one comment he was making in particular where like he was bringing somebody into the hospital as one of his like fellow units was like leaving, and the person they had like a bandaged up burned hand or whatever. And he's like, oh, come on, why could we have got that one? Right. So he was. No, it was very. He worked 4th of July night, and he was like, it was not very. Everyone in his neck of the woods were pretty safe. And
not eventful.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He was like, I mean,
well, that's good.
Exactly. So I guess I can't complain, but he was like, of all the nights to work a little extra, you expect to get a little, a little fun call every now and then for something crazy happening, and he was like, it wasn't anything too crazy. So, but yeah.
Well, in San Francisco, they always do the Golden Gate fireworks show.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a big thing.
Right.
They had 100,000 people there.
Dang.
That's like going to a professional football game or something, or a massive college game.
Are they on the bridge, or is it like
I don't know exactly, but I think going to and from, because there was so much fog in the area, and then the fireworks, it was a gridlock.
Crazy.
It was a tall parking lot.
I want to say it wasn't this past New Year's. It was the one before that. So the New Year's going into 24. I think we had like some rain or like a lot of humidity in the air or something. But in the local area I'm in, with all the fireworks that were taking place, the smoke lingered and it didn't dissipate at all.
Yeah.
And so I remember like it was very hard to drive. And I had 5 or 6 friends here as well when we were doing our little thing, and it was obviously past midnight, and everyone's like, "Oh, I guess we'll go and try and drive home." And like the smoke was so bad, they were like, "We'll just hang out here for a little while." So I got a bunch of extra pillows and blankets.
I think you told us about this.
I have a pretty big sectional, and so I was able to finagle everyone around where everyone was comfortable enough on the couch where they chilled here for a couple hours until it was safe to drive. But yeah, it gets kind of scary when
I
when
remember one New Year's Eve, Miranda and I went to one of my godkids' houses. Actually, all 4 of the kids are my godkids in that family.
Right.
And we're coming back after midnight, and it's so foggy that this main bridge road, it was so foggy, we literally could not see 10 feet in front of the vehicle. We were both had our heads outside of the car window, looking down at the road. And we were just newly together.
Okay.
And so this is a test for us.
Yeah.
And it just kind of showed us what we're capable of, because we're like, no, 2 inches to the right, 6 inches to the left.
Right.
and my hand on the steering wheel, but talking all the way down the main road, coming from one of the Ascension Parish.
Right.
And to the city that we live in.
Right.
And it was tense.
I bet.
And then people were, flashing lights. And the fog was so heavy that people were putting on their flashing lights, which is actually illegal. Flashing lights, for the record, people, is when you are stopped.
Yeah.
Not when you are moving.
Right.
So it was just blinding everyone. But we made it home. We made it home safe. But the smoke was pretty bad.
Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, I didn't realize. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in addition to the San Francisco thing, this is one of those walk and bicycle cities.
Yeah,
a lot of mass transit stuff. They collapsed.
Really?
They said it was not designed to handle an additional 41,000 people.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm like, oops.
Yep.
Welcome to socialism.
Right. Well,
it's not made for that.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to generate your city as this thing, you're just showed us, okay, we're not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
We're not ready for a 15-minute city.
Well, what I was going to say was I didn't realize that they had a time capsule, like that they had this time capsule that you guys are referring to. That I think is
they picked one up and they put one down.
Right.
So yeah.
What was it? Where was it located at again? Was it Philadelphia?
Philadelphia.
Tell me, what is? I just kind of, since we are right now celebrating the birth of the United States,
right?
What does the 4th mean to you all?
I mean,
do you really think about it?
Well, this is how I think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put it simple to y'all. I want you to know that you just paid taxes for fireworks to celebrate our independence from taxation from England.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it means to me.
Yep.
That's what our 4th has come down to. We're paying taxes to celebrate not having to pay taxes anymore.
Yeah, well, they had a problem paying the tax on tea at that time.
A breakfast beverage at the time.
Well, the King of England had gotten himself in debt with his war with France, and so he was going to use the American colonies as a way to fill the coffers back up, and unfortunately, it didn't go well for him. But yeah, I mean, I've often, sometimes I don't think about it a whole lot, but occasionally I do when these days come about, to really kind of think about a world without America.
Yeah.
And what would that be like? And
a lot of people would be speaking German.
Yeah, that or some other. I mean, throughout world history, I mean, the people have, countries have conquered other countries, and tribes have conquered other tribes, and I think it's kind of something that's just endemic of the human condition.
Yep.
I mean, just look at the technology that's come from America. The plane, the car, the bicycle. How many things have come from America?
Yeah. I feel like for a lot of people it becomes like Memorial Day or Veterans Day. Like they appreciate the time off they get, and they plan the vacation, and they focus on those things more than like what the meaning of the holiday really means.
I agree. Most people don't even realize there's a difference.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Veterans and Memorial Day?
Right.
What is it? Do you know?
I do.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead. Let's inform our listeners.
Memorial Day is for the people of the military who have passed on already, whether in service or I think are not in service. And I think Veterans Day are usually for the ones that are still alive or active.
Yeah, Veterans Day just recognizes all service people.
Yeah.
Memorial Day is actually those who died in battle. That's where. I mean, its origins goes back to the Civil War.
Right.
Is where Memorial Day came about. I think they used to call it Decoration Day, if I remember right. But that was really the first time that the country kind of like special attention to soldiers that died and died.
Which I'm not opposed to, like, focusing on the, obviously the vacation that you get because of it. Like, I mean, I know that obviously sometimes, like, I'm not saying you can't appreciate that, like the same thing for Labor Day. Like, obviously it's nice to have a little extra day every now and then.
Labor Day celebrates labor, so you can have a day off from labor to actually go celebrate.
Right. But the thing is,
it's like when people get the day off to go vote.
Yes.
And they don't go vote. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The whole point was so you could go vote.
Right. But I feel like it's the same sort of thing. I feel like
it is.
There's not like there's nothing wrong with appreciating and having a little extra vacation and using that time. There's nothing wrong with that, but also there is like a significance to the day, and there's especially with as we talked about with Veterans and Memorial Day, there's a lot of heaviness that comes with that for a lot of individuals. Maybe not for you you specifically, but I think I try to have some reverence for that, alongside also appreciating the time off that I might have. But I feel like sometimes the reason I'm saying all this is because I feel like sometimes 4th of July becomes another one of those just like, it's the barbecue time. It's the time off.
Well, look how many people were on social media saying, I'm not celebrating it.
I know.
And I'm not celebrating it.
It made me so...
Or what was that woman on, what was it, The View, saying that anytime I pull into a neighborhood that has American flags in it, I don't feel safe.
I hate that.
Are you kidding me?
That's unfortunate.
Are you kidding me?
The symbol of the country you live in makes you feel that way.
Well, that lets you make the money and do what you do.
I think we talked about this very thing at like the tail end of last episode, which I think is interesting that we're talking about this now, is like I feel like there's a lot of people I think that take for granted the freedoms that they have. The fact that you live in a country that allows you to say that you don't want to celebrate its Independence Day and it not be like you not get in trouble for that or get put in prison or hurt or killed or whatever is like that's a freedom that you were given, and the fact that you can feel that way, and the fact that you take that for granted is the part that kind of shocks me sometimes.
Just so y'all know, I'm pointing it in, going, "Yep,
yeah." That's the thing that's kind of interesting.
Exactly.
And I'm not gonna say that I'm perfect. Like there are times, where I forget the significance of some of these days, but it's also times like this. It's like 250 years is obviously a drop in the bucket for some other countries that have been along for a lot longer, but like also, it's a big time, and like even though you may not like the current leadership, you may not like the current trajectory, like the boiling it down to its fundamental roots, what this country is based on. You know, the freedoms that you were given in this country, like those kind of things are the stuff that's like that's the stuff to focus on. I may not agree with all the politics. I may not agree with the government or the governor you have in your city or whatever we believe in or whatever we feel like, or the fact that there's sections of this country that are really trying to push their way into socialism. Besides all that, like at its core, like we live in a country that has afforded us a lot of freedoms and has given us a lot of great opportunities. And even though it's not perfect and it has its mistakes, I still am proud to be an American. And the fact that you can celebrate a day like this, I don't take that lightly, and I feel like a lot of people have.
Just think of, if you read about what happened to those men that signed that document, most of them, it didn't end well.
Right. It's kind of like Jesus' disciples.
Yeah.
Do you know how old they were?
No, I don't.
Probably in the
can you Google that for
20s or 30s, I'd imagine?
They're probably young because
they were very young.
Because back then, when you
very
were
young.
A 25-year-old back at that time, that was a grown man.
That was a grown man.
Well, considering
this is going to surprise y'all right here.
I'm sure the life expectancy, what it was. You had to get started early.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not. It's giving me a bunch of other random stuff. Okay. It says that the Bible does not explicitly state the exact ages of Jesus' disciples. However, historians...
I meant the Constitution
signers.
I didn't know that.
Signers of the Declaration.
Signers of the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, let's see. Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, we won't know the disciples.
Yeah, that's what I was looking up. But to answer that question, it was basically between the ages of like 15 to 25 or so was the ages for the disciples. Let's look it up. It says the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence had the average age of about 44. The oldest was Benjamin Franklin at the age of 70 years old. The youngest was Edward Rutledge at 26 years old. And
think about that. These guys
40, 56, 33, 26. So a big span of ages from.
Some were just, it really ended bad for most of those guys. Some of them came through okay, but a lot of them, I would say the vast majority of them suffered tremendous loss in the revolution. They were basically severing everything they knew.
That's what I was going to say. They were cutting ties with everybody, everything. And think about this. Funding the whole thing.
Yeah.
With their own money, they were funding this whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you know what their main crop was?
Crop? Mm-hmm. Was it tobacco?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Hemp.
Really?
Yeah.
Hemp.
Okay.
Yeah. Somewhat.
Right.
Yeah, I knew it was kind of, I thought it was in that
Yeah,
in that
I think
family.
5 or 6 of the signers of the Declaration of Independence grew marijuana.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, regular tobacco too, also, and other crops, but you know, there's reportedly, and I think it's in the Smithsonian, there is a sweater made at the time of the Revolution out of hemp yarn that looks brand new today.
Wow.
Brand new today, which would make it around 250 years old.
Which is crazy.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's a, I mean, I'm in awe. I'll be honest with you. What they penned at the time, the idea of inalienable rights.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's one of the things that kind of gets me. The separation of church and state is not what people today make it to be. These were God-fearing, Jesus-worshiping people that said, God gave you these rights and put it down in the Constitution forever. This wasn't this wasn't a separation of church and state where you can't talk about religion. This was the government can't dictate, because at the time it was the Church of England and the king told you where you were going to go to church. And what the Constitution says, you feel free to go wherever you want to go.
Right.
You worship what you want. The government, again, that's what the Constitution does. It doesn't restrict the citizen. It restricts what the government can do to the citizen. And a lot of people get that wrong.
Yeah. I matter of fact, I was just listening to another podcast regarding this very topic.
Wait, there's other podcasts than ours?
Yes, believe it or not. And what it was, I mean, they did talk about these original founders. They really wrestled with this whole thing of religion and how that, because they're coming from a world that religion was a lot more intertwined.
Yes,
in the everyday life and of an individual. And so what they did was they basically said, look, we're going to leave that to the states to figure out. And so, because if you look at some of the early state constitutions, there was a professed belief in Jesus Christ.
Right.
A lot of people don't like to think about that.
Do you know about the Achaean Bible? The Achaean Bible? Have you ever heard of this?
I sure haven't.
I want us to do actually a show on this, but the Achaean Bible, I think there's only 7 left in existence.
Okay.
But it comes back from this time.
Okay.
And it has a support from Congress on the very first page.
Right. They like an endorsement.
Right. Of this Bible by the government.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. In God we trust.
Right.
You know, if you...
Yes, I agree totally with you. I think it's a mistake for people today that I hear a lot of time they say the founders were deist, and I'm not saying some of them were not. Some of them were, but not all of them.
Right.
You know, it's just the ones you hear about. You know, that kind of are known, but there are a lot that would basically tell you that yes, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior type of response deal. So yeah, I mean, I think what makes me proud as an American is this bold step that basically tells that I have dignity as an individual because my Creator gave me that. That doesn't come from you. I don't have some earthly person telling me I'm worth this or I'm worth that.
Well, your rights don't come from the government.
Exactly.
Your rights come from the higher power.
So, people don't understand how radical that was.
Yeah.
I mean, 250 years ago is not really that long ago in the scope of human history to say that.
Yeah, they thought that like bloodline was like where your worth was, and if you did, it didn't come from like a certain high quality of bloodline.
Well, like it varied. It depended on where. Like for example, the English had a little bit more of a milder version of that. The French were very heavy into that as far as some people were just born that you were just born to be a leader and you're born to be and have wealth and royalty. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what led to the French Revolution, and that was a whole different.
Right, but it's that kind of stuff of like your wealth is not tied up in that, but in
1781, Robert Aitken petitioned Congress for the Bible, which he was going to do at his own expense. And Congress later passed a resolution endorsing the Bible. It was the first English printed Bible, and it just right after the Revolution.
Interesting.
So you said Congress didn't print it or fund it, but they did endorse it, and the Library of Congress says that he did it at his own expense.
So they must have a copy in the Library of Congress.
I would guess.
That's cool.
And I know there's some religious group that has 3 of them. So that means there's still maybe 3 floating out there.
Maybe private collectors or somebody may have them.
And can you imagine what that sucker would be worth right now?
I want to see what it looks. I want to see what it is, because that's got to be.
It's not very big. I saw a picture of one.
Okay,
it looks like it may be 5 by 6 inches, but it's pretty thick.
Of course, it's got the whole Bible in it.
It's pretty thick. But that one page on there, just an endorsement from Congress. So you can't say that our forefathers, weren't thinking of this.
Founded this country on that.
Think about those people at that time. If they would wake up and see what their country that they would be today. I often, it's fun to think about what would George Washington or Thomas Jefferson or John Adams, any of the early, Alexander Hamilton, all these people, what would they think of
of America? That's a great idea. I think we need to do a spinoff of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and let AI generate what our founding fathers, knowing what they know about our founding fathers, and let AI write the movie saying what our founding fathers would actually think about today.
So this is really a philosophical question: is what do you think people 250 years from now would think about us when they read read a history book?
That's scary to think about, actually.
Well, I think what we ought to do, I want to go that route. But let's put a little caveat in there. And they're going to open up a time capsule.
Right.
So what would you put in that time capsule to give them some information on what they would think of us today?
I really thought about this whenever this topic was posed. And for me, it was hard because there's so much of our media, there's so much of our stuff is not physical anymore.
Right.
So much of it is digital now. It's like when I started to think about all the things that I feel like are so relevant right now or so in or whatever you want to call it, it all is some sort of, it's all streaming services. It's all cloud-based stuff. It's all digital media, and it's everything, even as far as video games I grew up with, it was on physical media. Now a lot of that's all digital. Even whenever you buy a physical game, it's an empty plastic case with a code in it. It's things like that that's well,
what is that one service said by 2032, they're not going to do any more box editions of anything.
I know, right?
Yep, they're done, completely done.
Well,
is it 2032? I think
you're probably right.
More stuff to go in a landfill.
Exactly.
So what's the point,
right?
But that's the thing is I miss the physical media because I'm thinking about things again. So this kind of also brought back my parents and my grandparents made a time capsule for me whenever I was born, and
that's neat.
And I wasn't supposed to open it until I was 20 or 25. I don't remember. I think it was 20 because I think it was, anyways, regardless, it was I think the hospital that I was born in, I think gave them like a metal drum kind of, and almost if anybody in the audience has ever around Christmas time, they have those tins of popcorn. It's kind of it's pretty deep, probably about, maybe a foot deep, maybe about a foot round or whatever as well. It was kind of one of those, and it had don't open until such and such year or whatever. And again, bringing up this topic, it made me think about opening that time capsule with my mom and my dad and thinking about it. Because again, at that time, my grandparents had passed away through old age, through some with cancer and some other situations. So at the time, it really hit a little different that like all the grandparents that also helped put things in here that was so special are all no longer with me. And the fact that my parents were, and so it was just a really awesome experience to see newspaper clippings of whenever I was born and I got put in the newspaper, or like my grandfather was a professional bass fisherman and was part of like a big organization in like Louisiana. I'm not sure if it was just Louisiana or like the other surrounding states, but like he was kind of a big deal. He like had trophies and like was like part of this magazine that like his whole group used to like make or whatever, and a page that was taken out of the edition of the month that I was born was all of his seniors and all his compatriots and everyone else that was with him was congratulating him because I was his first grandson. So they were congratulating him in this news or in this magazine edition for becoming a grandfather, and it was just this like cool stuff like that. That's like all these like physical things that I had, CDs and.
But you see, I think that's a great example of what they're going to think about us in the future. Yeah, because your group, your time is going to want to put. Some type of a drive, USB drive with 10,000 pictures on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
In my time, we didn't need 10,000 pictures. We may have had 20 to 40, and they meant way much more to us.
You're right.
Okay, when you had that and the flood, you were saving the pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I wonder if that's not going to enhance what they think about us.
Yeah,
because you're going to have the boomers are going to put their little thing, and the X Gen's going to put theirs, and then the millennials and the Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. What are they? They're going to think about? Oh, they had these paper pictures, and they sure seem to appreciate them more than duck lips and twerking and pictures. I mean,
I started.
So will that be something that they? I don't want to say concentrate, but for the lack of a better word, something that they dwell on while they're thinking about what was the value of these images.
I don't remember the company that did it, but there was like a local. It was a nationwide company, but they were also pretty local. They would make pictures, and they would have like matte prints with a little gold foil in the bottom corner. I can't remember what the name of it was now, but like there was a handful of photos like that my mom has and like a scrapbook that she's been making, and it's like looking back on like photos like that. My grandmother on my mom's side had like a subscription where like you could go every month or every couple of months and get like. She would like pay for this service where like you could go in and like get family pictures or like a group photo.
Didn't JCPenney's do that?
I think it's something like that.
JCPenney's used to have the little photo shop booth there, and you could go get pictures.
Well, she would have a subscription because obviously it's myself and my two younger brothers, and we were like the first of the grandkids. So obviously, all the grandparents are they're willing to spend money on pictures and things like that, especially like I said in our younger years where every month is children change so much at like a younger age. And so again, my mom has all these very, very beautifully made like photos from then. And again, it's like every month, and you can see the changes that I'm going through, and my two younger brothers as well. And she's making this scrapbook and for each one of us kids, and it's just interesting to look back at all these like physical forms of media that she has that is so special, and again it has this little added special sentimental value that like my grandmother had a subscription to like make sure that we always were there, we always had that done, and it's like she's no longer with us, but like I still have these like physical photos of myself, knowing that it was something that my grandmother really wanted for each of us. And it's like, that's so special. And like, anyways, just this topic was like making me think about all that stuff as well, where it's like, man, when I started to think about the things that I would put in there, I'm like, I'm not even sure any of it would survive.
When I was growing up, we had kind of like an L-shaped kitchen, and there was a little bar section, and that's where the 3 kids sat when we weren't having dinner at the big table. And there was a little macrame initial for each one of us. And then there was a bar. It was an old wine barrel that my mom painted or stained a certain way and put a little cushion on it, and it had a little flip lid on it. And our whole life, every time we did something, my baby silver is in there. My baby blanket is in there. And we didn't know the whole time she was collecting stuff for us.
Yeah.
And when we finally moved out, that's what she would give you as you moved out. And it was all of your baby stuff. Your hair from your first haircut, all of these things that you don't even realize. And I was like, wow, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
And I wonder if people still do that kind of stuff.
Well,
do they just take 1.5 million pictures on their cell phone? And
I've got all my old stuff, my report cards from when I was in grade school. I got my baptismal certificate. I've got all that stuff. I've kind of often wondered if I wanted to plant a time capsule in my yard.
Yeah.
And, what people would think of me, 250 years, just random guy. They dig up in a construction site somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Who is this guy? I often wonder, what would I put in there? And I think I would put, I've thought about this a little bit. I think I would put of course I would put a report card from my grade school years. I'd probably put a photograph. I would put a picture of maybe some pets that I had. Maybe a bill. Think about that.
A bill.
Maybe a ring.
Yeah. I found the name of it, by the way. It was Olin Mills.
Okay. Yeah.
Is the company. And I couldn't think of, I know it was O something. It was Olin Mills was the company.
But JCPenney's did
You're
do
right.
that.
You're right. I think Walmart had something like that.
Olin Mills and JCPenney's.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
It was a company like that. And again, I think it was nationwide, and I don't think they're around anymore, which is unfortunate, but it was that, again, it was in that time in the 80s and the 90s where I don't know, I feel like there's this sweet spot where cameras were good enough for really good professional photos, but wasn't so widely spread for consumers to have them all the time. And so they had these interesting services.
Well, Jason is the bridge generation between the print and the paper to the digital. And you're kind of fully in digital who still appreciates the art because you're kind of that artsy fartsy
right.
You appreciate the old stuff.
Yeah.
But his generation is the one who...
we still have photo albums.
That's what I'm saying,
I still have all that stuff, that I'll inherit that from my mom and, when she pass on and, we'll keep that. The question is, who gets that, because it becomes less and less meaningful as time goes on. There's no connection
But
and
now
like
what
that.
one of the big companies is you take that photo album, or you can even take the old 8mm film or whatever and have it digitized.
Yeah.
All the pictures, even my mom and dad had that old camera.
Yep.
And you could hear it. And then you had the big projector thing, with the wheels on it.
Yeah.
And I have all of those. And I've thought about sending those off and getting them digitized. To keep them for posterity, because eventually that old plastic is going to go away.
Well, I think of people when floods and stuff like that, they lose all those valuable things. And the thing is what happens to it after, it's still...
Right.
It's stored somewhere. The question is who would access it as time goes on and stuff like that. Maybe it would go into some hall of records.
Right.
Of something.
But the thing is, it's, I think that, I don't know, it becomes, like you said, once you get so far removed, it's harder and harder to have personal significance on it,
because sometimes you don't even know who these people are.
You're right.
We look at these pictures, and I mean,
you're good.
And you go, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
So I know who that is, and I kind of know. Oh, wait, that's me, and I kind of know who that is.
Yeah.
But who are these 8 other people?
You're right. My mom has done a pretty good job of she likes to do ancestry type stuff.
My sister does that,
and so she's been collecting a bunch of photos and expanding upon family trees and putting names to faces and birth and death dates to a lot of people. And so it's stuff that I haven't really dug into, but I know that she's preserving my family's history in a really interesting way that's like super cool.
Okay.
That like I haven't really done, and I don't think anybody has done specifically like this, but it's just interesting. Like, I think you're right that it gets to a point where we don't have personal like attachment to the people or to like the history of it, but like it's still part of our history though, and it's like there's like a level of importance to, I think, put or to like teach other people about, or younger generations. Like, you may not know who this is, but like you wouldn't be here without them in a certain way, and it's like, and anyways, there's just cool stuff like that like I've been able to learn more about, like extended relatives that I've never met or never heard of, and have done cool and interesting things, and it's like, wow, that's so cool. But anyways.
Yeah, I mean, this is I find it interesting that, what will people 250 years from now
do we know what was in the time cap? Do we get like a
in Philadelphia?
Yeah. Did they tell us what was in it? Or?
I don't remember. Stoney, do you remember what it was?
I don't know. Y'all asking me to remember something?
Well, I'm just asking. I didn't know if you knew or not. But I
want to see if we have like a what was in it? Because I'm curious if.
I mean, I just can only imagine what the world will look like 250 years from now if
it's changed so much.
Exactly. I can only imagine what another 2.5 centuries is going to look like. I mean,
agree.
Will we still be here? I mean, will
the fourth turning have happened?
Will America exist as we know it today? Yeah. Will world governments come about? And there is sovereign. It's just like one world government. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what natural disasters, what sort of man-made disasters, might forever shape something that we can't even fathom right now. Mm-hmm. We always talk about AI. You don't know how AI is going to ultimately change the world.
Okay. I will say that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It says one was not opened. One was opened in the bicentennial. One was just buried.
I see.
It's called the America 250 time capsule. And the top items were an iPhone 17 Pro Max.
Oh, gross. Yep. Okay.
Gosh. A molecular DNA data storage device from the Library of Congress. Synthetic DNA encoded with historical materials, including Thomas Jefferson's rough draft of the Independence.
Really?
Francis Key Scott's handwritten lyrics for the Star-Spangled Banner, etc. A handheld commemorative flag from the 2026 Rose Parade. The Philadelphia Phillies 2026 Opening Day lineup card.
Okay.
A letter from Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro. A booklet for Pennsylvania history, stainless steel plaque from New Jersey with future generations, liberty, and just a nice list of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that phone is kind of neat.
Yeah.
But I be honest with you, thinking about it, I think they missed the boat on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're trying to tell people about today, what did they do wrong? What they did wrong was it needs to have a 1% battery and a 37 unopened notifications.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that would tell people what we went through today. Okay, that would make a little bit better sense to me, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, because isn't that what we live with today? All the little ding, Jason gets his little ring dings and stuff like that.
I'm dinged out.
Wouldn't that be more suitable?
Yeah.
If you could make the equivalent of that, so they, oh my God, what does that mean? What was that?
I'm going to tell you some things that you would stick in a time capsule that I think would be interesting.
Okay.
An Amazon shipping box.
The thing is, I know you're probably right, but I would hate that because that's what world we're in right now. Everyone's making jokes about the Amazon drones right now.
Oh yes,
and I'm like, gosh, I hate this. I hate that Amazon is like slowly has over the past like 10, 20 years has like slowly creeped its way into just being everyone's default. I hate it. It makes me so upset.
Yeah,
like they're shutting down all these brick and mortar stores because everyone's like, "Oh, just fly it over with a drone."
Did you see video of it?
I have not. No.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, in actually,
yeah. Where we live, yeah.
and it's pretty interesting. It hovers down, it opens up like the back of a C4, and drops the stuff right in your yard.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't. That's creepy, man. I don't like that at all.
I don't know how that works.
We should lock away a drone. There you go. Just lock away an Amazon drone and have it be. That's what we were going through. 250 years ago.
I think that you could put do you think about maybe a Starbucks cup?
Okay. Probably.
Yeah.
The Starbucks cup specifically.
Okay.
That was left on the table in the Game of Thrones.
There you go. Yeah. That feels
it has to be that cup.
Yeah.
With a picture of
of where it
Daenerys
was.
And the cup. It's got to be that cup.
Yeah.
Of maybe a voter registration card. That would be something else that would be pretty interesting. Yeah. Maybe a driver's license.
I wonder. I just don't know. Because again, like we said before, I feel like someone would put like a thumb drive in there with like a bunch of stuff on it. But again, it's like, do we know if in the past 25 years connections between devices have changed so much?
Well, you would have to leave multiple things. You would have to have like a removable hard drive, a thumb drive, a couple of disk drives. Just as much as our technology has, leave it all.
But I think about the fact of like, what if you were to
have somebody handwrite it all out?
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like like if someone this is obviously I'm like hyperbole. I'm being a little facetious here. If someone was to like put a floppy disk in a time capsule and we open it 25 years later, like right now there are certain individuals that can insert a floppy disk and actually do it. I don't.
Right.
So if I open up this capsule, I'm like, oh, look at this. I wonder what to do with it.
Right. Exactly.
And even if I look back through history and figure out how they would actually read this, I would go, man, I can't even. There's probably a way, again, with science and stuff, we could probably decode what's on it. But it's like things like that. It's like if you just, right now, I feel like a thumb drive feels ubiquitous, but maybe that's not in 50 years from now. Maybe it's something totally different. Who knows?
Hear me out on this one.
Okay.
A month's worth of bills.
Okay. Why that?
So people would know what we were living with in today's society.
That's a good point.
Just a month worth, all your gas receipts, all your grocery bills, your rent, your mortgage, your insurances, car insurances,
Walmart receipts,
everything that you spent in a month.
Right.
A receipt for your phone bill.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And have that in an envelope.
And that's interesting that you think about it like that. Yeah.
So they could see what we had to really live with.
Because I do think I've looked back at receipts from like, a McDonald's from back in like the 50s or whatever. It's like, 10 cents for a cheeseburger or whatever. It's like, that's crazy to think about.
It's hard to capture, in a time capsule, really the context in which these items were, we know that because we live it. But, it's just like people 250 years ago, if they had put something in a time capsule and we opened it up today, we would see the item, but we would probably not appreciate the context in which those items were there because we're not living 250 years ago. It was a completely different world at that time.
I feel like I feel like some really intelligent people would probably put some sort of scientific data in there, which I think we've talked about.
They did in
this one, but like something like that, like some sort of crazy supercomputer type thing, or like what is like something high tech that we have currently that like is kind of crazy to think about now, but imagine 50 to 100 to 250 years from now we look back on and go, oh, look at that old dinosaur,
right?
Exactly. Something like that would be kind of cool, I think.
That would be ancient.
Right, exactly.
That'd be old. It'd probably be worth a lot of money.
Yeah. Exactly.
To them, it's sort of like what they did when they launched I believe Voyager.
Voyager is reaching, it takes 24 hours for its signal to get to us now. Mm-hmm. It's 1 light year away, and it's leaving The dust, it's leaving everything from our galaxy or universe or something, where we are now.
Our galaxy.
Yeah, our galaxy, it's leaving that now.
It's even the galaxy, but it's probably leaving our solar system.
Maybe so, something. Yeah,
it's
I'm not
probably
exactly,
our solar system, right.
So it's leaving something and going into the vast where it may not see anything.
Right, interstellar space.
Yeah.
Ooh, in like the dark zone.
That's it, the dark
Scary.
zone. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but they put like, it was like a record, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was a gold record. Yeah,
gold record with all sort of stuff.
I think if I'm mistaken, I think it has a bunch of different greetings in like every language, I believe, and a bunch of other stuff with
some songs and
yeah. I think also it has like molecular
all of our elements. Something
whatever,
to do with
like
our
that.
elements or something like that.
Yeah, can you have that way in case they said if somebody got it out there, they might be able to.
So let me ask y'all this: knowing what we know about McDonald's fast food and Twinkies, would you leave a hamburger and a Twinkie in the time capsule for 250 years from now? It would still be there.
Oh, it would still be there. I know the French fries would,
especially in a time capsule.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Would y'all leave those in there?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right. Well, I feel like it'd be a bit gross, but maybe, who knows? It would probably be preserved. That's interesting.
They probably would put it in some sort of Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, and then,
I don't think you'd have to, though. The way it lasts now, you got people with a hamburger 25 years later. It looks like you could eat it today.
I mean, you seal it off from air. I mean, it can pretty much.
Yeah, but what about these people that find them under their car seats?
Yeah.
From 10 or 15 years ago, and it looks like they made it yesterday.
That's where that fry went.
I looked it up just to go back, and it's I don't think it's technically left the solar system, but it says the boundary of the probes have crossed what is called the heliopause, which I guess is like that farthest extent of the sun, potentially the solar winds.
Okay.
So it says at this point, the outward push of the solar wind is stopped by the interstellar medium, whatever that means. So the probes are now traveling through interstellar space, measuring cosmic rays, magnetic fields, and plasma and stuff like that. So I think it's potentially not getting pushed by our sun, but potentially just
going with the waves.
Yeah, whatever.
Going with the flow.
But you're right, though. I think it's getting to that point where it's like it's crossing some thresholds that it hasn't. No other has so far, which is actually really cool to hear about. That's super sick, but also kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of different stuff I feel like people could put in a time capsule. And I'm also curious to hear if anybody else has ever had like a time capsule that they've done. I attended a church for a long time that I think had put their I'm not sure when it was. I believe it was supposed to be for 50 years, and I think it was put there in the 80s, I believe, whenever the current sanctuary was built. An Eagle Scout had made like a cairn of stones, like a little like memorial stone thing. And in there there's like a removable stone in the front of it that you can like they put a time capsule in, I believe. And they put a bunch of stuff from the 80s in there, and they sealed it away with the rock that I think is supposed to be. And I'm not sure if that's still there or how that would work or not, but it's just curious to think about that. Like potentially in 2030, I believe they're supposed to open it, and so trying to. I'm interested to see what's in it. That's cool, and it's fascinating, and it's interesting, and it kind of gets me excited. And so I wonder like who else has kind of done, time capsules, not only like for myself when I was born, but like it kind of got me interested in, like you had said, making your own and figuring out how you would put some things into it and finding some interesting ways.
So I got one more thing to throw at you. Okay. Looking at all of us.
Okay.
For different reasons. Would y'all put a pair of glasses in there?
Okay.
Yes.
Because in 250 years, I doubt they'll need them.
Right.
Really? Okay.
Think
Yeah,
about
you're probably
that.
right.
Think about
Yeah,
that.
they're
I
right.
have new toric lenses in my eyes that I only need something to read with now.
Correct.
They'll probably have
And
cybernetic.
they'll have all
vision.
So would putting a nice pair of readers and bifocals and trifocals in there,
Right.
so that you know,
right.
what was this? You know,
Right.
would that be interesting? And what would that say about us?
That is true. It also has got me thinking about other like medical type stuff. You know, like
A pacemaker.
Some Band-Aids, you know,
Yeah,
or like some,
okay,
yeah, it's just like a common thing that we have. Or
Neosporin.
yeah, or whatever.
Bottle of Tylenol.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. That's like
whatever.
crazy to think about. That again, you know, because I feel like I've also looked back at like old bottles of like Coke and things like that, or you know Coca-Cola and things like that from a bygone era in the glass bottles. And
What about a nice
tins.
bottle of brandy?
There you go. Hey,
You know, because if it's sealed
Yeah,
and
yeah.
don't get any air in it,
You're
It'll be
right.
good.
it'll be good.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
celebration upon opening.
Yeah. I mean, they find that stuff like in shipwrecks.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
they
right.
found honey back from the Egyptian,
You're
pyramid times that's still edible.
That's crazy.
Think about
that's,
that.
That's wild. When
Yeah.
you think about that.
And wait, speaking of like shipwrecks, putting currency,
Yeah.
maybe not like a large sum of money in there, but like
Put a dollar bill.
a couple of quarters or whatever we
put
have
a
in there.
penny, a nickel, a dime.
Yeah, right.
You know, just
Put a dollar
Well, especially
bill.
now that the penny's not
Mhm.
not in circulation
Yeah.
or not in what is the proper term? Not in circulation.
They
or not-
stopped making it.
Yeah. Or
So
however you-
yeah, they stopped production of it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
basically, what's
But
out
there's
there
still a
is-
trillion pennies out there.
You're
It's
right,
like
right.
they don't really need to make any
exactly, but still.
more. Mhm.
So yeah, it's fascinating, and I'm interested to see. Do they say when this 250 capsule they put in the ground is supposed to be opened? Do they?
They do have a date. Hold on, let me see here.
Was it supposed to be another 250?
Yeah,
years?
it's in 2276.
Oh my gosh.
July the 4th, 2276.
Yep.
Okay. You're right. Thinking about that date, 2276.
we'll be long. I mean, we won't.
Well,
be.
we'll definitely be long gone.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it.
I plan on being around.
I mean, look, I think about I think about the voice records of this podcast.
You're
Sure.
right.
I would
I
put
guarantee
that.
you they probably be somewhere in some archive somewhere that
That's interesting to think about.
We can
Somebody-
do that ourselves.
You're right.
We could
Yeah.
do that.
yeah.
you know. I mean, somebody.
I got a 16 gigabyte or what is the big one?
64
No, what is it?
Terabyte.
Terabyte.
There you go.
And we'll just put them all on there.
There you go.
We'll do our own.
Yeah.
I mean,
For all of history.
I would be very interesting to see if that would somebody 250 years would somehow uncover
you're right.
this
You're
and
right.
hear these guys talking.
Wouldn't it be interesting?
You know?
For me, I'm thinking of my own personal situation. Like, wouldn't it be interesting if like my grandchildren were to listen to,
You, that's right.
my thoughts and feelings
After
about
after
the
you're
history.
gone and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
listened as an adult.
There
Yeah.
was a man that I was a bodyguard for back in the mid 80s. And he was one of the Long cronies,
Mm-hmm.
the Huey P. Long cronies. He came in the time when Louisiana and Baton Rouge and New Orleans were really taking off with the Huey P. Long era. And I really wanted to just write down what he knew
Yeah.
because he saw it all. He came to Baton Rouge at 18 years old
Mm-hmm.
with his parents' life savings. I think it was $64.
Get out.
He had an 8th degree education and passed in 89 as one of the wealthiest men in Louisiana.
Wow.
And he was just an amazing individual. But the stuff that he knew and saw,
Yeah.
I would have really, but he kind of passed before. We had talked about doing that.
Yeah.
And he passed before then. And it's just such a shame because to have that knowledge
Yeah.
pass away and just be gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I tell everybody, my deathbed confession is going to be freaking awesome. But, you know, we're in the age now where we can put those things down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my grandmother when she was, getting to that point. I remember talking about her youth and living through the 27 flood and I mean, and all that what that involved. I mean, that's a completely different world,
Mm-hmm.
from we can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, it sounds like that person that you're talking about, Stoney, is from a different world.
It is.
Yes. He lived a couple of different worlds.
Right.
If you think about it, I think he was 80 years old in 89. So he was the turn of the century when he was born.
That's what I'm talking about.
How much did he see? He saw pre-war.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, during the war, he saw post-war.
I agree with what you're saying. What I meant by that is like he that was 100 years ago or 120 years ago or whatever that would be. And it's crazy to think that like that is a different world. All that span of time, like you said, all the different things that took place throughout history is a different thing altogether, let alone 250 years. Like you had said, Jason, with like, you know, at one point in time, you know, people were not created equal in a lot of different ways. And it's just...
That's right. But I mean, if you go back far enough, that's what I'm saying. That's what makes this country unique.
Yeah.
It was the first really country to really make that kind of statement.
Yeah.
Because for most of human history, there is no equality. I mean, the idea that people had dignity and all, I mean, it just didn't exist.
Yeah.
That wasn't even part of the lexicon. I mean, so it is. I mean,
but if you think about it, this generation now that's coming of age, was it Gen Alpha, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha?
Yeah.
What's one of the things you see on social media popping up all the time? Dad, tell me your story. Mom, tell me your story. You see these books and these recording things where you're asking these older generations to tell me who you are.
Yeah.
They're longing for that. They're looking back for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. And I wonder if that wouldn't be something that we could put in the time capsule of how these generations were going back to the older ways or looking back to it.
Yeah.
I think that would be fascinating, you know, 250 years from now. Oh, look here, they were on this track, but then all of a sudden, willingly, they wanted to go in this direction that was more the old ways.
Yeah.
And I think that would be fascinating too.
I agree.
Just a thought.
You know. No, that's
Absolutely.
really crazy. But as I had said earlier, and to kind of wrap out this episode, I'm interested to hear if anybody else in the comment sections or on our email has experienced a time capsule, whether it be
That is a good thing about this show.
Yeah.
Squirrel. Squirrel.
You're right.
Sorry.
No. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I love our conversations, especially when I feel like they so seamlessly evolve into the next thing. But if anybody has has experienced what it's like to open up a time capsule, whether it be personal or
school-wise,
or for a church or for whatever.
Schools used to do that a lot.
I believe so.
Back in like the 50s and 40s and 60s, lots of schools had their time capsules put in there. Yeah,
that's so nice. But we have comment sections on Spotify and on YouTube where you can leave those short form responses. Or if you have a really long form response you want to give us, we have an email address, getoffendedtogether@gmail.com, where you can send it in. We appreciate you listening. And until next time, bye-bye.
Ian, I have a letter, a little short letter. I just want to read it. Maybe you can incorporate it. If not, just an idea. I just kind of was curious. It says, a letter to 2276. If you're reading this, we're long gone. We were the generation that grew up riding bicycles until the streetlights came on, but ended our lives asking artificial intelligence for answers. We witnessed the birth of the internet, watched computers shrink into our pockets, and wondered whether machines would someday think like us. We hoped technology would make life better. Sometimes it did. Sometimes it made us forget to look up from our screens. If your world is richer, kinder, and wiser than ours, then perhaps we left you more than artifacts. We left you a foundation. And if you're still searching for meaning after all your technological miracles, remember, the greatest innovations were never computers or rockets. They were love, family, faith, freedom, and the courage to imagine a better tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone, and God bless.
America at 250 is still loud, stubborn, brilliant, wounded, funny, faithful, divided, generous, and alive. The question is whether America at 500 will thank us for what we preserved or forgive us for what we wasted. Thanks for joining us today. You're the best. Peace.